What is up, lovely vape fam? This is Joe of All Vapes coming at you with some of the best products out on the e-juice market and then some. You know how we do it. Okay, I'm going to review it. We're going to break it apart bit by bit, and then I'm going to leave it all up to you guys to make the final decision, right? The choice is up to you, and I'm the guy that's going to make it easy for you. Now, eventually, every now and then, I come across a brand that is so high quality and just taste, structure, profile, and basically just the overall message that they're trying to come across with. Now, message, what do I mean by that? So, you got a lot of e-juice brands out there, right? I mean, the market is flooded. Thousands of new brands worldwide, not to mention in this country alone, are just coming out like wildflowers. You know what I'm saying? Popping up everywhere. So we can get a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, there's a lot of great flavors out there, and how many times can you redo a flavor to separate it just a wee bit enough to make it stand out from everybody else? You know what I'm saying? Well, you can do it very easily if you put the passion and the time and the quality in the ingredients and make sure that you spare no expense into coming out with a really top quality brand that everybody's going to enjoy. And I've come across a brand that is reflective of all of those aspects of everything that I just said and then some. So you've heard me use the term true to profile before. Now, what does that mean? Those of you that have never seen my reviews or you're just kind of coming up into what I do, true to profile basically means that the product, the final end result, is so spot on, just nailed it to the actual description of what it is that they're trying to convey as far as the flavor. But it's more than that. It's the quality. It's the different layers of flavor. It's what it can do and just tap dance on a discerning palate, right? We're not just out there to find every other novelty flavor out on the market. We want to be dazzled every now and then. Well, Gunz Premium E-Juice is one of those companies that has absolutely tap danced on my palate and dazzled me. Let me tell you, I was turned on to this company by a very good friend of mine, Billy Vernetti, the guy that owns Elixir Vape Co. And I can say that because he's actually really good friends with Matt, the owner and creator of Gunz Premium E-Juice. This is some of by far the best e-juice that I have ever tasted. And I don't say that lightly. Now, I've tasted a ton of different e-juice, and I've said similar things like that before about other brands. But here's what I'm talking about. They have 5 signature flavors right now. 5, and I got the little 15 milliliter bottles right now. Every single one of these is different, but every single one of these conveys a quality within itself. They are completely separate from every other flavor in this entire line. It was a massive pleasure and nothing less than an honor to be able to review and share with all of you guys a brand this top-notch and high quality that came with such high accolades and such a high recommendation from a very good friend of mine. And you know what? I get a lot of recommendations from a lot of friends, but I don't use the term very good friend of mine lightly, nor do I say that, you know, I was very honored to be able to review this line with just any line. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to break this apart in typical Joe of All Vapes fashion, bit by bit. We're going to look at the labels, talk about the flavors, and then we're going to kind of throw it all together in a nice, tidy little package. So first of all, let's talk about the labels. Gunz uses a couple old school 6-shooters, a couple old pistols. Now, here's the cool thing. I am a gunsmith. That is my day job, and I only specialize in cowboy guns. So cowboy era 6-shooters, lever action rifles, side-by-side guns. And I know maybe a lot of you guys didn't know that about me, but that's what I dig. That's what puts money, money in the bank and food on my table. So I related to this brand really, really well. It was very, very cool. 100% made in the USA. If that doesn't tickle you, I don't know what will, right? Join the revolution here, guys. Premium e-juice on the side, made in the USA on the other side, and of course some of the information spiel on the back. Okay, you got to keep the legal heads happy. But I love the label. The little pistols here are kind of high gloss, got a little bit of bling going on right now, and the background sort of looks like a really old rigid parchment, kind of like an old wanted poster you'd see in some of the old school cowboy movies. I really, really dug that. Now, each one of these are 3 milligram because that's what I dig. It keeps my head from getting too floaty when I vape. This one is the sarsaparilla. Now, this is one of the best soda flavors, I guess you could say, that I have ever tasted. It is really, really solidly true to the profile. And it's not easy for me to say when it comes to sarsaparilla. How many sarsaparilla vapes are out on the market? Now, typically people that have never tried sarsaparilla, somebody that has will say, do you like root beer? Then you're going to like sarsaparilla. Well, sarsaparilla is a flavor sort of all in itself. It's very herby because it basically is. It's a root. It's got a little bit more of an herby taste, but it has a bite to it. It's really just beautiful stuff. This stuff, when I vaped it, was so light and airy and refreshing. Absolutely spot on. Could not emphasize that any better than that. There are a lot of great sarsaparilla flavors out there. Actual sarsaparilla, you can go nice and cold, pop open the cap and take a sip. I swear to you, you will not tell the difference between the actual thing and Two Gunz Premium E-Juice sarsaparilla. It almost tasted effervescent when I vaped it. It's light and it has almost kind of like a cooling sensation to the tongue. Now, the indiscriminate little aspects of the flavor profile in there were so spot on. And I know I talk a lot about how discerning my palate is, but you know what? I think it is pretty dang discerning, especially for what I do. I was a culinarian for quite a many years, so I was trained basically to be able to pick apart individual flavors. I was graded on that stuff, but now you guys are grading me, right? You're going to put your money into a product that you want to be happy with. You don't want to go to, the vape shop, taste something and be influenced by 1,000 different flavors floating around in the air and then take it home and you're like, oh man, this stuff sucks. Wasn't nearly as good as it was when I, tried it at the vape shop. You're not going to be disappointed with this one. And I will say, if you do like root beer, you're going to love sarsaparilla. If you like sarsaparilla, you're absolutely going to be in love with this stuff. Out of sight, really top notch, high quality, true to profile, more so than I definitely expected. I was really, really happy with this one. So we're going to go to the next flavor, and this one is Apple Jacks. Now here is the cool thing about this. I already know what you guys are thinking. Okay, it's your typical cereal vape, typical breakfast lovers, favorite. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is totally different. Now it's very reminiscent of that cereal flavor. I'll put that down on the bar, but immediately the first flavor, the first taste that I encountered when I took a vape off of it was fresh apples, sweet, airy, crisp, light, and refreshing. Fresh apples. And I don't mean candy. This was not a candy taste. This was a true to nature apple flavor with a little bit of cinnamon. And that's basically the main flavor profile of Apple Jacks. You get the apple and the cinnamon. But see, here's the thing. Most cinnamon vapes for me, like I've said before, kind of taste like dirty dishwater. And it has to be a really high quality cinnamon extract to be able to tantalize my taste buds, because I'm pretty picky when it comes to certain vapes, and especially when it comes to cinnamon flavors. That should be my bag, because desserts, they're my favorite. But every now and then I like to switch it up. So because this stuff came so highly acclaimed, I definitely had to dig into this one. This was the second one that I tried after the sarsaparilla, and I was nothing less than impressed, as well as with the sarsaparilla. This stuff was so true to profile, but then again, it wasn't. Because it wasn't just another cookie cutter cereal vape that you were just, okay, so it came with the collection. I might as well try it. It will impress you. I guarantee it. Slice up a good Fuji or Granny Smith apple, sprinkle some cinnamon sugar over the top of it, and I mean fresh. Put that in your mind. Not every other cereal vape. And this is what you're going to get with Apple Jacks. Absolutely guarantee it. You guys aren't going to go wrong with that one. The third flavor is Grape Twin Pop. This one was really, really fun. Out in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of man-made lakes and little reservoirs and whatnot. And for the Memorial Day weekend, I went down to this reservoir with a lot of my wife's family, and we hit it up on the inner tube, had some fun in the sun, and I brought out some of the Grape Twin Pop. Nice, hot, sunny day. Typically, I start vaping on a lot more of kind of the refreshing fruity flavors, your menthol blends and whatnot and stuff like that. Basically, try and kind of step away from a lot of the deeper, richer dessert flavors that I vape mostly during the winter time when it's just kind of dank and cold here. And in the Pacific Northwest, it rains about 9 months out of the year here. So this one was really, really fun for me. Nice and light and airy, very, very sweet. I love a good grape flavor. Typically, I'd expect something kind of candy-esque, like a good, Jolly Rancher or something like that. Similar to that, but more tart, more on par with just a really, really sweet red grape. You know, you bite into it and it kind of has that tart kind of bitterness to it, but with just a delightful sweetness. I guess the closest thing I could compare it to was like a melted down grape otter pop. Y'all know what an otter pop is, right? If you haven't, you definitely have not had a good childhood, man. Let me tell you, I had a very fulfilling childhood, and this was the closest thing that you will find to a grape otter pop, but this one's grape twin pop. Let's put it that way. Really light, really sweet, really cool consistency to the vape. Even though it was on a warm day, it made me feel like I was back in my childhood waiting for the ice cream man to come by. You know what I'm saying? This one was definitely not overbearing. It is an excellent palate cleanser. So if you're typically used to vaping a lot of the creamier stuff, the richer, the denser kind of decadent vapes, do yourselves a favor here, guys. The summertime ain't going away for quite some time, so cleanse your palate with something very cool and sweet and refreshing. You're going to taste your childhood in the Grape Twin Pop, man. This one was really, really good. And no bad aftertaste, okay? A lot of the kind of the candy-esque kind of fun vapes like this can sometimes give a little bit of a just kind of a weird aftertaste. This stuff was so sweet. I was tasting it an hour after I took my last vape with this one. Really, really pleasurable. The next one here is Loco Loops. Now, again, I know what you're thinking. Typical another breakfast flavor, right? Wrong. This one was still on par with the typical straight up breakfast cereal vape, but the Loco Loops just made it sort of more of a fresh flavor to it. So imagine a world where instead of fruity cereals, we actually eat the fruit that the cereal tastes like. I bring you Loco Loops. Pretty much straight up on par. Now, so many of us have grown up with a lot of those fun cereals, you know, as kids. Hey, it's my daughter's favorite. I eat it too every now and then. I'll sneak a bowl. But you know what? If I had the choice between eating a bowl of the actual fruit that the cereal tasted like, but still tasted so candy-esque and so sweet, you know, I'm opting to go for the fruit. This is what it reminds me of. Exactly. So you've got a nice blend of cool, ripe, fresh, you know, fruits going on in just this beautiful little melange, this really nice medley, cool flavors. I'm talking about strawberry, maybe some grapes, some orange, some apple, some banana, light on, you know, some of the kind of the mellow blends, but really sweet with some of the strawberries and, you know, maybe some blueberry mixing on in there. And of course, some crisp, ripe, fresh watermelon. Everything was really, really fruity and nice and comfortable. But true to profile, like I said, in the manner that it tasted more like the actual fruit than just some candy-esque flavor going on. So once again, Two Gunz comes out with a really, really quality vape that is very reminiscent of a lot of flavors out there, but they've gone out of their way to present it in a fashion that I guarantee you're not going to expect. You're not going to get some cheap candy-esque flavor out of the Loco Loops. It'll remind you of your favorite cereal, but it'll also tell you that you're feeling a little bit less guilty because it tastes so much like the darn real thing, man. Let me tell you, this one was a really good one. And bringing up the rear, the last but not least flavor is Custer's Vanilla. Now, this one was really, really cool and a definite favorite of a good friend of mine, so this one came pretty highly recommended. Here's the thing about a lot of flavor blends between vanillas and custards and creams. So I think a lot of vapors out there sort of get a little bit confused with the difference between a good cream and a good vanilla vape. There definitely is a difference between the two, and it sounds stupid me saying that. It's like, duh, Joe. Obviously, there's a difference between the two. But if you think about it, there's such a high percentage of blends out on the market, and we're typically used to having a really good cream combined with a really good vanilla because it adds two flavors from two totally different worlds of nature, bringing them together. One's a dairy product, one is a plant, basically. You know, so you're mixing the two of those together, and are they complementary? Extremely, which is why typically you have vanilla bean ice cream, you know? But what a lot of the time you don't expect is that one of those singular flavors in itself is going to be presented as a really top quality flavor just by itself. We're so used to having something mixed with something, like strawberry is going to go with banana, you know what I mean? And root beer is going to go in the root beer float, and it's going to go with, you know, the vanilla bean ice cream. You know, something has to pair with something. So a lot of the time when you hear just a one singular flavor, you're like, okay, great, banana, strawberry, apple, menthol in itself. You know, you're like, wow, excitable, right? So you're asking yourself, why would they just come out with just the one single flavor? And I'll tell you, If they are quality brands and the passion is behind the flavor, go to the profile. Always, always leave it up to the quality of the profile, and that will basically just unleash itself onto you as long as you know what it is that you're looking for. The Custer's Vanilla will pretty much answer that question for you. So here's what we're talking about. Vanilla in itself is very sweet, but it has just kind of that really subtle earthy flavor to it. That's what makes it such an amazing additive for so many other flavors out on the market. But in itself, you're tasting something that is just the pure beauty and essence of what it is. It is pure vanilla, just sweet, creamy in a texture sort of sense, but Custer's Vanilla is by far one of the best vanilla flavors out there in itself that I have tasted to this day. And when I say that, think about this. Whenever you're making a cake, you're making cupcakes, you're making cookies, you know, whatever, so a good bread, it's going to call for a little bit of vanilla, right? This stuff basically tastes exactly on par like a really high quality vanilla extract smells. That make a little bit more sense for you now? Maybe I've been struggling to try and come across with just a proper conveyance to let you guys know what it is that we're working with here. So, you ever tasted straight up vanilla? It is strong, okay? Usually it's carried with a lot of alcohol to preserve its essence. This stuff, you can vape straight. It vapes and tastes like vanilla extract smells. Very, very high quality. I would assume that, you know, Matt just basically went out and took a bunch of vanilla beans, scraped them into an extract, and put it into a vape quality bottle of e-juice for all of us to enjoy. This one was definitely a pride and joy. And I can tell that Matt definitely put a lot of time and energy into this specific product. It definitely wouldn't have come this highly acclaimed otherwise. So here's what we're looking at right now. We're talking about 5 signature flavors from Gunz Premium E-Juice. I'm a little bit overwhelmed because I have yet to find a company, very many of them that exist out on the market yet, let me put it that way, that come out with such amazing high quality. The passion has definitely gone into every single aspect of the flavor of each and every one of these bottles. Now, I'm not getting compensated for this. Matt isn't paying me to tell all of you guys how spectacular and amazing his e-juices are. Now, just because they come recommended from a very high quality source means absolutely nothing when it comes down to the discerning flavor profile and palate of the consumer and quality and professionalism behind the making of the product. It's all up to you guys, you know what I'm saying? Each one of us has an individual palate. But from what I do, from a reviewer's point of view, and as much as anal as I am, and very consistent on how I like to review these flavors, pick them apart, find the different layers, I can absolutely guarantee you that this was a true pleasure and absolute honor to be able to get to review a flavor brand this high quality. It is such an amazing line, and I am very thankful from the bottom of my heart that Matt allowed me the opportunity to review these flavors and just thrust them all out into my awesome vaping community. So Matt, just want to say, brother, I really appreciate you following through. Thank you very much for your patience and for your support and allowing me at Joe Vol Vapes here to be able to show all of my vaping community the fine flavors that you got here, brother. This is some amazing high quality juice, and I hope all of you guys will give this a shot. So here's what I want you to do. Go on to Gunz Premium E-Juice on Instagram. Give these guys a follow. Check out all their boss pictures. We've got some really, really cool pictures, and you'll see some of the pictures as well on my page as I pump these guys up, because I always like to take a little bit of extra time for some of the brands that I think just deserve a little bit of extra shine, and post some of that goodness on my Instagram page as well. And you'll find that at joelvolvapes_2. Got some awesome stuff going on in the future. If you like this review, definitely spread the word here, Joe Vol Vapes on YouTube. And like I said, check me out on Instagram, joelvolvapes_2. Got some really, really good discount codes going on that is going to help you guys pick out some of the best e-juice out of the market and get a little bit of a happy discount going on as well. Got some boss giveaways going on. I've still got my 10,000 follower giveaway that I'm still preparing. It was intended for last month, but you know what? There has just been so much going on, and it gave me the opportunity to build this giveaway up to something pretty extravagant and spectacular. So stay tuned for that. Once again, stay humble, everybody. Love yourselves, love each other, keep advocacy alive, and you keep it cloudy. Thank you for your support.